Then we're gonna have Jacob, who basically, or sorry, Isaac, who basically loves his wife, and we're like, how though? You just looked at her and you're in love.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Yeah,
And then Jacob, he loves like the way he loves Rebecca is like, how did we get here? So it's so drastic the way love is changing. And maybe that's why we feel like love has to be this grand thing. Like love was so simple at one point. You just pick your person and you love them and you choose to love them.
right.
And now it's like, no, you love them because of something else, maybe.
What is going on? XYZ is an XYZ Nation. We back, ready to start season 5.
Yeah,
That's
come a
pretty
long
cool.
way. Yeah.
This is like for weddings. Isn't 5 like a major wedding thing? Like you made it to a certain point when you get 5, or is that too low?
I feel like that's too low. Yeah, that's
But
too low. Because I think they say like year 7 is when people start getting
okay,
that like itch. So if you make it to 10, it's like,
not
ooh,
the itch.
yeah, to get out, the itch to get out. Like,
Um, yeah. So if we get to 10, then we can really
yeah,
celebrate.
celebrate. Yep.
But 5 is still a good boundary, a good milestone that we've reached. And I'm glad to be doing this with you. And well, let's do introductions. So we're supposed to introduce ourselves. I am the latchkey one himself, the former X-Man, repping Gen X all up in the area. And next to me, we have.
I am Moya, the resident millennial. And normally we have Jasmine,
Yes.
our Gen Z or our microwaver. But she is still on maternity leave.
Yep.
Not much longer though.
Nope.
Well, maybe long to them. It might be long to them.
Maybe,
Yeah,
but
a couple more episodes
yeah,
without her, but she'll be back. She's been studying and
yeah.
she's been doing well. She's being a mom, being a wife, doing all the things.
Ah, those days of yore.
Yeah,
Those days of a long time ago for me. Ah,
yeah. So, but she's coming out of the trenches a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So we're looking forward to getting her back, having the trio back. We are going to have some guests in our absence, much like we did towards the end of last year. We're excited for those. A couple of you have seen before, a couple of new folks, but they should be great because I enjoyed having them on.
Yeah, yeah. It was different, but
Mm-hmm.
not in a bad way. Like,
Right.
yes, we miss Jasmine. We definitely want Jasmine to come back because I like consistency. But it wasn't like a terrible. It wasn't. It was great. It had different perspectives and
Mm-hmm.
different ways of thinking,
Yep.
and yeah.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was cool. All right. So we are going to introduce this season. I feel like we just did our welcome back. So welcome back. And we're going to talk about this season. But before we get to that, we've gone through a good portion of Genesis.
Yeah.
Because in season 1, we did 37 to 50,
Mm-hmm.
right? Focusing on Joseph and actually the generations of Israel or Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went all the way back to Genesis chapter 1, went 1 through 11.
Yeah.
Right. And then 12 through 23 this past season. So I guess to open us up and to help bring us into what we're getting into in season 5, has there been anything where you've had to that's made you think or had to bring up any of the study of Genesis that we've done, like since we finished up season 4?
I think when we were going through it, it came up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's more so just reels and like think pieces. And there's been a lot of things coming up about mythology.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And how people are using not last seasons, but the one before that, the first like chapters of Genesis to kind of be like, all these things in mythology are related to this in the Bible. And I'm like,
No.
I don't know, but it's interesting that all of that is now my timeline. Like my timeline is full of a bunch of different thoughts
Yeah. Yeah. They're out there.
Yeah.
I had it come up once. That it's come up many times, but one time that I'll point out is I had a friend who's a frequent commenter on our reels and such,
Mhm.
and he was like, I was talking to somebody, and I just need what do y'all think about such and such? It was me and a couple of other people, and so we had just studied Genesis because he was asking questions about Genesis,
Mhm.
right? And I was like, huh, look at this. So apropos. And then I was like, hey, here's our episode. If she's interested, tell her to watch it. We
Yeah.
talk about all the stuff. I can't remember exactly what he was asking about, but it was something to do, I want to say, with um marriage and one woman, one man, and we talked about that a little bit in when we went through the first, not the first season, the third season,
Yeah.
Genesis 1 through 11. So, and like you, I do see a lot of not mythology, but just a lot of people who have been looking at Genesis, especially, I don't know if you remember when we talked about it, this gap theory. There's Genesis 1 to Genesis 2, and people try and say there's a gap that happens there.
Mhm.
And so I've seen a couple of things come up about that. But yeah, so it's interesting that it's cool to me when these things come up.
Yeah.
So now that we talked about what was, um, I see the typo. What are we covering for season 5? You want to give us a little
Yeah.
rundown?
Let's do our little AI breakdown. So Genesis, we're doing Genesis chapter 24 to 36.
Yes.
And 24, we have where Abraham is going to send a servant to get a wife for his son Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
And 25, Abraham dies.
Yep.
There's, I feel like because of we're trying to do a quick summary, there's going to be so much more that's in there, but I'm trying to pick out the major things. But there's that whole thing with Jacob and Esau, all of that is going on in there.
Yep.
Then you have in 26, there is a covenant made with Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
27, Isaac is, or Jacob is deceived by Isaac.
Yeah.
And Esau's blessing is taken
Yeah.
away.
That's
So
going to be an interesting episode.
yeah, I think that's one of the ones Jasmine probably gonna miss that she didn't get to do.
Right.
Because I think we talked about it. Maybe when it's in the Joseph story. And we were trying to, because we kept going back, like, oh, remember when this happened? And she was like, what? And I was like, oh, you're missing the drama. Like,
Right.
so that's part of that. Chapter 28, God appears to Jacob in a dream and then just confirming the covenant again. So this covenant has come up so many times in the last season, and it's going to continue to come up in this season.
Yeah.
29, Jacob is deceived by Laban, his father-in-law, and he ends up marrying Leah instead of Rachel, who he actually loves. And that's the whole nother family drama, like the whole working for her for all those years and then having to do it again.
That's going to be a good one to talk about.
Yeah.
Too.
And all the kids that come out of that.
Yeah. And Jasmine should be back for that one. So
okay.
Yeah. Right. That's what you say, 29?
Yeah, 29.
That based on the schedule right now.
Yeah. And then we have in 30, there is, it's the breakdown here says there is God's intervention with Jacob's household and he grows wealth and increase and all of that. So I think that's a good foundation for how did Jacob have all of these sons and all of that. Like it's a foundation for that.
Yeah.
And then Jacob leaves his father-in-law in chapter 31 and takes, the two wives and all of the things.
Yep.
And then in 32, Jacob wrestles with God.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and then he gets the name Israel.
That's going to be an interesting, because I can't remember whether it was 31 or 32, but somewhere around there, there's the whole vision that Jacob has of angels ascending to heaven and descending to earth. And so to be some There's some good talk around that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah. And what was that? So 32 is where Jacob wrestles with God.
Right.
33, Jacob and Esau reunite. And if you think about that, it's significant because they're fighting over the fact that he stole his birthright. So there's a lot of tension between the two of them.
Yeah.
But they get to a point of reconciliation.
Yeah.
Chapter 34, there is Dinah. And that whole story.
That came up when we were
Yeah, that did come up. And yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one as well.
Yeah.
35, we have God renews his covenant with Jacob. And I think we'll just have to get into that when we get into that. And then 36, we get the descendants of Esau, and then we're kind of caught up.
Yeah, we're caught up. We're back up to Joseph and how his line and what happens with him.
Yeah.
So reading through that, what are you looking forward to anything? I know we mentioned a couple. What kind of character arcs or sort of cohesion things are you looking forward to sort of getting to, since we went out of order, right?
Yeah. I think that because I started reading just 24, and immediately they start talking about love. Right. And I'm like, interesting. Like, we haven't really heard about love like this before. And would I even consider this love? I don't know. So that's something that I'm looking for. Like, I'm looking at like how the definition of love changes from Genesis 1 all the way through to when we get to, I guess, Joseph's side of it.
Yeah.
Because it's so different. We start off with two people being put together. We're calling that love. Then we have somebody getting his sister. We're calling that love, but it just doesn't, to me, it just wasn't feeling like the love we talk about.
Right.
Then we're going to have Jacob, Isaac, who basically loves his wife. And we're like, how though? You just looked at her and you're in love.
Yeah. I don't know how that works. Yeah.
And then Jacob, he loves, like, the way he loves Rebecca is like, how did we get here? So it's so drastic the way love is changing. And maybe that's why we feel like love has to be this grand thing. Like, love was so simple at one point. You just pick your person and you love them and you choose to love them.
Right.
And now it's like, no, you love them because of something else, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I figured that's what you would bring up because I remember I felt like a lot of the things that came up with the way that Abraham loved Sarah.
Yeah.
Right. That was a thing that came up.
Yeah.
You weren't the only one to see it. People she saw it last season and mentioned it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure others did as well. And it's a good, like you're saying, juxtaposition to look at what was happening with Abraham and Sarah to what's going to be happening with Jacob and the folks and even Isaac and Rebecca. So,
yeah.
So that's a good one. I'm looking forward to the it's like it all makes sense. All right, so all right. Yeah. Here we go. So I don't know. I'm gonna date myself. I know you don't watch movies like that. Star Wars. When Star Wars starts, it starts with episodes 4, 5, and 6. Right?
Okay.
So we don't get like all the beginning stuff. It just like jump in the middle of the story. Story was good. Movie was good. Blockbuster for its time. Right? Classic. But it starts at episode 4. So you meet all of these people and then you start to wonder, well, how did they get there? So then they went back and they was like, okay, y'all really want to know. We're going to do episodes 1, 2, and 3. Episodes 1 and 2, sorry, Lucas, they weren't as good as 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And I'm not the only one saying that. I think a lot of folks who are really Star Wars fans would say that. But why did you have to go back and watch episode 3? Because you needed that cathartic moment when you actually saw Anakin Skywalker turn into Darth Vader.
Mm.
And I think by doing this section, and I didn't know how much I needed it until we finished up Joseph's story, right? Israel is in Egypt, everything looks good. Then we go all the way back to the beginning, and I'm like, we're missing the part that connects Abraham to Joseph.
Yeah.
And once we get that connection, and I think once we see how the Lord works in all of that connection, it's going to be that cathartic moment to be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. This is why the Lord was behaving and dealing with his people this way.
Mm.
So that's what I'm sort of looking forward to, sort of closing the circle, so to
Yeah.
speak, to get that moment of, ah, it
Yeah.
all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that'll be cool for me. So we already talked a little bit because the next item up is what do we know about Isaac and Jacob? I think we touched on that a little bit just walking through the chapters,
Yeah.
right? There's a good deal. It's interesting because when you were walking through the chapters, one thing that I noticed, and let me know if you did as well, Isaac really is only prominent in the first couple.
Yeah.
Notice that?
Yeah.
And then it switches to Jacob. But Isaac, we know, is of great importance, right? In this story, in the people that God is creating for himself. But we don't spend that much time with him there,
Yeah.
in his life. So that's a little interesting to me. But then Jacob and everything that happens with him takes a little longer arc. And I have some theories as to why, and maybe we'll talk about that during the season.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah. I don't think like when you ask what do you know about Isaac, I'm just like, he was almost sacrificed
right.
and he has a son who's important, or he has twins that are important. I'm
Right.
like, that's about it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really, or he was also tricked. He was old, he was
Right.
tricked. Like, I don't really know. And that's what's like, maybe I'm missing, maybe I just never read it. Maybe I skipped over that, but maybe I didn't. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just not in there.
Yeah. When we
So we'll find out.
yeah, when we went through, there's not a lot. And I don't know, maybe it's wrong because you're right, he was tricked. But by that point in time, I've whenever I read it, I'm almost shifted over to what's happening um with Jacob and Esau at that point in time. So
Not really thinking
not
about
really
Isaac
thinking like
anymore. Yeah.
about Isaac that much anymore. So
And I think about it just because he's still playing the role of giving the like handing down that blessing. So we know the blessing for Abraham went to Isaac and now he's passing it down to someone
yeah,
and he's picking that person. So it's only one person that's kind of carrying the torch. Like you can't give it to both of your
can't have
sons.
both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that'll be interesting too. Um, to see how the relationship between the brothers plays out. And also that's used throughout scripture, right? It's talked about in Romans, even. So the interplay, the relationship between the brothers.
Mm.
So that'll be good, and we'll touch on that when we get there. Um, what's the best way for people to interact with us? We get a lot of comments on our reels and stuff and our shorts.
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I think YouTube is probably easier. But if you don't like your comments to be public, you can DM us.
yeah,
We will respond.
yeah.
Yeah, DM us on Instagram. Now, if you're on TikTok, I can't help you with that one. I check that maybe once a week. Or that might be giving myself too much credit. I check it once every couple of weeks.
Every now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we definitely want comments, right?
Yeah.
I think we respond to most of them that come in.
Yeah, we do.
Even those that can be a little
I will delete comments. I will. I have. Have I
Have you?
maybe one? I think I've deleted one at least. And then you were like, you deleted that one, but not this one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
So
remember that.
yeah.
I remember.
So I will delete, but sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
go ahead and comment.
We'll try.
As long as it's not like we don't want comments that are gonna lead people astray.
Yeah.
And because we don't have this huge following, certain things can't just sit under there unresponded to.
Right.
So that's the reason I would delete
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So
And that makes sense.
we're not against people questioning or like giving feedback
Yeah,
or
definitely.
their thoughts, but like watch how you say it
Right.
and make sure you're not saying nothing too crazy.
But
Yeah. However,
awesome. Awesome. Now, I think we talk about this a lot as well, right? For people that are following us and sort of walking through the chapters with us, what are your suggestions for when they get the time to sit and listen? Um, things they should do. How should people who are watching and following us um, follow us? Like
yeah.
study with
Yeah.
us, or
Yeah, I would say it's okay to pause and come back because some of our episodes are really long and there's a lot in there. If you can feel free to just listen and then move on with your life. But if you're trying to actually dig deeper, use the timestamps
yeah,
that are in there because Chris is putting the run sheet in there and there's timestamps of what's being talked about, what verses we're going through, things like that. Um, and I think it would be a good study guide. Just
mhm,
I've gone through this many verses. Let me take a break, or it's a lot right now, or I need to check something you guys said, and then
right,
that way you can come back and be like, you know what? I read verses 1 through 5 and I agree or do not agree,
right.
like whatever, or you guys forgot about this or didn't bring up that because we can't cover everything
No,
because
no,
we're doing the chapter by
right.
chapter.
And we welcome those. As you just mentioned, we welcome those type of comments.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't last year. I think one of my goals was to like put together a Bible study of sorts,
Mm,
and I think this has helped to get that goal accomplished with the run sheets.
yeah.
So I appreciate you for calling them out almost as study guides.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the really high level might be too much. They're at some the level of granularity in terms of what's happening in each set of verses, and it helps us drive the discussion. But we don't follow it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to the T, but I think we touch on most of
We do.
what's in there.
I agree.
And we may add a few extra things, but for the most part, you're covering
Yeah.
a lot of it.
Yep. Cool. 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 Um. Any final thoughts?
Follow along. Like follow along. I think it'll be a good season. Um, I'm kind of ready to be done with Genesis, but I also want to get through this
Yeah.
part first.
Which
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I mean, we got to have the discussion, but I'm like, what's next?
Yeah.
Is we've been in the Old Testament all five. This will be the fifth season,
Yeah.
all 5 seasons. So when we talk, I'm gonna be saying I need some Greek in my life. Hebrew's hard, but I do want to get through this again. Just before I mentioned, right, that cathartic moment where everything just sort of fits and the puzzle is completed in my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, my final thoughts are just like Moyo's over here. Follow along with us. Looking forward to getting through Genesis and learning about Isaac and Jacob. And then we'll see where the Lord leads us from there.
Yeah. I'm gonna also try to do better at studying enough so that the all right so boom segment goes smoother. I feel like it's not as smooth for me.
Really?
It's making me feel like have y'all seen the guy trying to do the Dougie every day until he does it smoothly? And now I'm like, is that me? Do I need to like clean it up, tighten it up a little bit? So I might should I say that? Because am I actually gonna do it? I will try my best to remember to do it because we talk about so much and I want to get so much of it in there.
Right.
But it's also supposed to be a summary, not say everything that we talked about.
Right.
So I want to tighten it up a little bit.
Well, I still enjoy the ISO booms hugely. So whatever, just tighten it up, but don't
Don't
let
mess
it
it up.
be ISO boom.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. So if it changes and it's a bad change, I'll let me know.
Yeah.
It probably won't change too much.
Cool. I didn't think I didn't have the picture of you like trying to do the Dougie until you every day until I thought they were fine. But
I don't know, because when I make the reels, I'm like listening back and I'm like, "Ugh, I feel like I'm repeating certain things over, or I'm not being, what's the word, efficient in the way that I'm saying it.
okay. I can see efficient, but that's just meh. Efficiency has its place.
Yeah.
All right, folks. With that said, I think we're ready.
Yeah. And we forgot to say, and we are generational
We
scriptures.
did. I was
It's because
thinking
Jasmine
that.
isn't here,
Yeah.
messing
Yeah.
up the flow a little.
But we are generational scriptures.
Yes.
Indeed. Generations XYZ. And we are looking forward to this season. Hang out with us, enjoy it with us. Again, we're just looking forward to it. And we said this last season. What I think we're doing here is some resources for folks. So we're trying to think of this and put this together as a place where folks can come. Hey, I need to know what's going on in chapter 24. They can come, listen, and get a good idea and a biblical idea as to what's going on. So we appreciate all of y'all who tune in and who watch. We appreciate all of you who already leave comments. But for those of you who watching and catching us for the first time, come on back, be part of XYZ Nation, XYZers, and yeah, hit the subscribe and click and notification bell and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you all.
Yes.
All right, we out of here. Deuces.
Bye.